We'll call the
Okay,
meeting
very good.
order. It looks like it's
Okay.
7:06.
Okay.
Okay.
We don't have any alternates, so we don't have to worry about new business. Introduction to Isabel Kisluk, our new Columbia Inlands and Wetlands agent. And what I'd like to ask is, Isabel, could you give us a brief summary of what your life is like right now?
Sure. So I'll give you, a little bit of my background for some introduction. I graduated fairly recently from Central. I have a degree in geology and a degree in biology. So I worked a lot with water quality statistics and soil quality in my research for coursework. And since then I've been hired. I was working for, I've been working for a couple of weeks now with John. And we've been going out to sites so he can introduce me to the town a little bit. I came out to California, I think on the 25th or so. So I'm currently in California visiting my sister. And I'm doing some remote training, going over all the regulations to make sure I'm well-versed. And I'll be back on the 17th. I'm excited to get back and get to it.
Very good. And where do you live, Isabel?
I live in Middletown.
In Middletown? Okay,
yes.
That's pretty close. Good.
Yeah.
And
so you're a nice drive.
Right now you're working with John, and he's trying to give you some information about what we do and everything, how things work, right?
Yes, definitely. He has a lot of information to impart, so it's been good.
Okay, thank you.
And, I'm full of it.
Welcome. Welcome to our commission.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Okay, first item under okay, we already went through new business here. Do we have any additions or changes in the order of the agenda, John? Or
none, sir.
None. Okay. We don't have any audience of citizens. Oh, yes, we do. We have Christina and John here, right?
Christina and Robert.
Robert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Robert.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we'll go right into our old business, which is IWWC-2122-02, the application of Robert Tuttle of Tuttle's Tree Farm to build a farm on Farm Road at 54 Hennequin Road. And I know a lot of us went on the site walk to see things. So, John, do you want to fill us in on that a little bit?
Yeah, I can. I've been working with Robert now for a little over a month. And as you remember, July 4th was a holiday. So we met on that. We typically meet on the Thursday following a Monday, following the Monday meeting if it's on a holiday. And the application was submitted on the Wednesday before the site walk. And in anticipation that he would go forward with the application for the crossing for his farm road. And I think he was encouraged at the site walk by the members and looking at the area that he proposes to fill. It's a regulated activity in that any filling of a wetlands is not exempt from any farming or other permitted activities. If you're filling a wetlands, you need a permit. So that is the case here. And so Mr. Tuttle is proposing two items before the commission. One is the filling of wetlands for an access drive, which is for a farm road, but requires a permit from the commission. And then the second thing Mr. Tuttle will be looking for is for a jurisdictional ruling on the remainder of the driveway as a farm road in the upland review area, which the commission would make a determination that the activity as proposed, is a farming activity. And so Mr. Tuttle could represent himself and tell the commission why he feels he's a farmer. So then I think I sent like 3 reports out to the commission during the last few weeks. And I wanted to make sure that I sent out a copy of the CROG map showing that the CROG map had not delineated that area as a wetlands. So when I noticed, when I first went to that wetlands, I augured a couple holes and it was wet, but it didn't have the characteristics of a wetland soil. So then I walked the watershed, which was up to the top of the rec field, and I could see that, during the development of the power lines over the last 80 plus years, that what they basically did is they just directed the drainage, and most of that drainage comes down and then sort of pockets in that area where Mr. Tuttle proposes to put his farm road. So it's my belief, and it was earlier, even before I researched the mapping, that wasn't a naturally occurring wetlands. And that's my opinion. It is a wetlands today because it's been saturated for such a period of time, and we have a water flow that's extensive as far as it's prolonged during the spring of the year, that it's become a wetlands. It's like if you dug a hole in your backyard and you hit water and you left that hole there, well, believe it or not, that's now a wetland. So don't go digging holes in your backyard, otherwise you'll have a regulated activity that you'll need a permit to do something around it. So that's that aspect of it, meaning I don't think it's a high quality wetlands. There was no hydrophytic vegetation. In fact, it even appears that the tree growth there is probably less than 30 years. So it was an open area. It was part of a lot of the area had been dumped, meaning they had placed fill and debris in it. The prior owner or owners, they had a landscaping or what was the business there, Robert, before you purchased the property? What did Bob do there?
They were doing wedding venues, but also selling like rare perennials and annuals.
Yeah, they had like a landscaping business. Yeah, so a lot of the debris and stuff ended up on the outskirts of the wetlands. So all I'm trying to say is I believe it was pretty much degraded. It really wasn't a naturally occurring wetlands. My opinion, once again. So I don't have a high there's not really a high value or function of that particular wetlands. And if you look at that area, there's another 100 feet when that ends, and then it's like it's hay, and there's no evidence of any scouring or any flow in the area beyond the forested area before you get to the road. Then at the road they have a swale which carries any water that makes it to the road through a pipe and then down Hennequin, and then it outlets across the road. So there's no continuity between that system and the road. So like I said, I feel like it's drainage, and it pretty much it infiltrates into the ground, and that's it. So then I looked at the area proposed for the tree farm, and he has 2 areas where he wants to put some trees, and it's separated by a wetlands, and he has an opportunity to go around the wetlands to get to the other area. So he has 2 separate areas where he wouldn't have to traverse the wetlands to get from one end of the tree farm to the other. And he proposes to bring the road up to the beginning of where he plans on putting in the first area for the planting of the Christmas trees. So that's my take on it. And Mr. Tuttle can share some information regarding what he plans on doing and how he plans on doing it.
Hello. So everything John said, we worked on the last month going over everything. And the big reason we're doing a Christmas tree farm is 1, we have the acreage and the land, and 2, my fiance over here is an art teacher as well. So we're kind of putting 2 different trades together, if you will, to make something pretty unique in our town. And given the fact that our land is situated in the location that we have with the good soil and definitely good water, it seems like a viable option for us. Today also, I spoke with the Public Works Department about part of this permit is cleaning that drainage culvert over on the side of Hennequin Road. And they said they needed to talk with their supervisor. I forget her name right now, and they'll get back with me tomorrow on that.
Yeah, he has an existing cross culvert at the end of your driveway, and Beth Lunt would have to approve the cleaning out, but it would be something that she would typically do for maintenance, not a problem.
Right. And the other thing too, where this road is going, John put in the permit, there's a lot of debris, stone, rock, you know, and we're also going to be actually cleaning up the wetlands and making it a usable piece of land instead of just a dumping ground, as John noted from the previous owners. So it's actually, I feel as though going this way is actually very beneficial instead of another route.
Yeah, I think I sent a letter out to the commission identifying an alternative, because we like to talk about alternatives, and so we looked at two alternatives, and one would be going by Mr. Tuttle's house within 50 feet, and Mr. Tuttle and his fiance were against that, because if we have a commercial enterprise where people are entering day and night, you know, to buy Christmas trees during that season, they didn't want that type of traffic too close to their home. So it's understandable that they didn't want people coming in and out unannounced to right by their house, especially if they have children. The second place that I looked at, and I did a little bit of research on it, is it's by their septic system. And they would have to put at least a foot of fill over the top of their septic system. And if they did that, then the access to Hennequin Road would be too steep for it to be an approved entrance onto their property. Because typically for the first 30 feet or so entering or leaving a town road, you need a 3% slope. And that couldn't be accomplished if they were to then put a foot of fill over their septic so they wouldn't damage their septic system. So that was basically ruled out. So with the exception of putting a road right past their house, this is the only alternative they had, and that was to put it through this wetland system.
Okay. Anybody have any questions that they would like to ask John or Robert? Okay. So are we ready to rule on the application?
I have a summary ruling prepared that I sent out. I could read you the more salient parts of it,
okay,
if you're ready.
Very good.
John,
Okay, this is
John Valenti.
Yeah.
Do we have
Yes.
to read the jurisdictional ruling?
Yeah, we should read that also. So we do one or the other first or second.
Okay,
It doesn't make a difference.
whatever you like, which one you like.
Okay. Well, I have the summary up in front of me, and
Okay.
I'm struggling to get these windows to stay in one place on my computer. So let me read the one that's up and active. This is for a application for Robert Tuttle, 54 Hennequin Road. The maps are dated July 13th, 2021. The application was received on the 7th of July, and a fee of $285 was paid for the proposed activity to fill a, I quote, unquote, man-made wetlands to access a farm operation, a Christmas tree farm, to fill approximately 135 plus linear feet by 20 feet approximately to provide two-way access for customers to a tree farm. And then the standard conditions for notification to the town that the permit is good for 5 years, that I'm to be notified 24 hours in advance of any work, that no work is to commence unless it's approved by the wetlands agent, that it's to be done during the dry time of the year, which would be probably after next week or the week after, and that the town is to inspect and approve the silt fence and other measures prior to movement of any earth material, to meet with the homeowner and the contractor to discuss methods of construction, the disposition of any debris, stumps, and rocks, meaning anything that's going to be removed from that area in preparation for laying down the geotextile fabric. I want to know where it's going to go. We discussed some locations which were suitable, but I want Mr. Tuttle to reiterate exactly, depending on the amount of material, where it's going to end up. And this is to be placed outside of any wetlands. The methods of construction of the access drive, i.e. to remove trees, remove stumps in the access drive only, remove obstructions protruding greater than 6 inches above the proposed driveway base elevation, and then place the geotextile fabric on the width and length of the access, fill with clean material for a minimum of 12 inches above the fabric. And basically, rather than digging down and digging all the organic material out, digging all the rock out, one reasonable method for doing this is to put a geotextile fabric down, and then basically what you end up doing is you float the driveway on top of the wetland. This could be done in an area where it's a lot wetter and a lot muckier than what the Tuttles have, which is it's a hard pan soil. Like I said, it doesn't have the characteristics of a wetlands. They are to secure the upper side bank of the access drive by placing a filter fabric and a minimum of 6 inches thickness of 1 to 3 inch stone. And the reason for this is as the water comes down the power line, it's going to hit the side of the driveway, and the upper side of the driveway should receive a filter fabric interfacing with the gravelly fill and then stone. So when this water comes in contact with the side of the driveway, it doesn't erode it away, and then it runs along the side of the stone and then exits into the hay before it then finds its way to the swale, which is in the town road. That swale is around 1.5 feet deep, so it would never be compromised by this, and we're not increasing the flow. It may be more directed, but there's no increase of flow. To accept the storm runoff from the power lines, remove brick and landscape debris. So remove any of the garbage that's in the wetlands and fill placed in the wetlands by prior activities. So remove all of the garbage and debris in the wetlands. Clean or replace the driveway culvert at Hennequin Road as agreed with the permission of the Columbia Highway Department. Install silt fence above the pond as agreed, meaning Mr. Tuttle doesn't really have to do anything that's part of the farm road, separate from the filling of the farm road, which is something that needs a permit for. But outside of the upland review area, he doesn't need a permit from the commission, but he's agreed to put some silt fence above the pond during construction. And this is in preparation for the development of the farm road. This permit is to include additional work not proposed at this time. It may include the removal of organic material and placement of clean fill to improve access from the town road to the beginning of the access road through the wetlands. Mr. Tuttle has been living there for a year, and he feels that he doesn't have to do that, that the area between the road and the wetlands is suitable for driving on. In anticipation that that's not the case, I wanted to make sure that this permit, or that it's acknowledged that he may be doing some work in that area, which would be allowed as a farm road because it's not in a wetlands. But it just makes sense to mention it here that he may end up doing that if he finds that the area is just too wet to traverse and it needs improvement, such as some fill. So I listed it here. He doesn't have to do it, but if he has to do it, at least it'll be part of the administrative approval, part of the jurisdictional ruling of the organic material. And then the organic material that's removed from that area is to be placed in an area proposed for the Christmas tree farm. And it goes on to say that Mr. Tuttle is assigned the responsibility for implementing this erosion and sediment control plan, and the work is to be done during the dry season. And the start of such work is to be approved by the town wetlands agent. Silt fence or other approved diversion methods may be required to divert anticipated storm flow from the power line of property around or above the work area. So in anticipation that there may be some water coming off the power line during the construction, it's to be diverted above the driveway as described with the filter fabric and the stone along the bank. I think it's a couple, 3 days that this work will take to get the base material down and the side of the driveway protected. So it shouldn't be a big deal. So that's the summary ruling.
Okay, very good. So
We need a motion for that, John.
yeah. Do we have a motion on that by anybody here? I guess to accept John's motion.
John can't motion, John.
Oh, All right, so do you have to read the summary ruling all over again?
No,
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 no.
no.
No, you just reference the motion.
Yeah.
You could reference the summary ruling. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. So we have a motion now for the summary ruling. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mary seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay,
Good.
motion
Okay, we
accepted.
have one other. Good.
Good luck.
We have another motion, and that is the motion to accept the request by Mr. Tuttle to consider the work to be done outside of the wetlands as a farm activity. And that I could tell you for the record that I've known the Tuttles for over 30 years, and they've been farming ever since then and before. And that Mr. Robert Tuttle works with his dad and doing haying and tilling. So I know that he's had his hand in farming, and it's not a question of he would like to put this driveway in and use it for something else. I trust that what he's proposing is an honest venture on his part, with the history, as I stated earlier. So, being a motion to accept the proposal to create a farm road for access to a Christmas tree farm as a use as a right under section 4.1A.
Somebody want to make that motion?
Motion to accept the proposal.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, signify by raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Cool.
Good.
Good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Okay.
Yep,
Bye, guys.
sounds like a nice adventure.
Take care, John.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome.
Okay, Robert, Christina, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I have to leave.
Okay, the next item is the approval of special meeting minutes. Everybody get a chance to read them?
Let's see.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second,
I'll second it.
all in favor, raise your hands.
Aye.
All right, okay, so moved. We don't have any audience of citizens here. Is there any communications or correspondence, Flo or John?
No.
None noted, no. Sorry.
Okay. Any open discussion?
A quick question,
Yeah.
John. I'm sorry to interrupt. My bad, because I was late. I know you've introduced Isabel. Welcome. When officially does Isabel start in transition from John? John?
She has to morph into me before she transitions.
Okay.
I'm being facetious. October 1st.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you,
a good
John.
long introduction.
Very good.
Cool. Welcome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, we'll have some administrative reports, John. There's two of them that are on our agenda here.
Yeah, we had 3 administrative approvals. 136 Route 87 for Candace Tanner. We had Mr. Stephen Harrington conducting a one-time event in the outskirts, the adjacent to the floodplains on his property on Route 66 next to the restaurant. And then there was, looking through my notes here, Burns. Mr. Burns had a 28 Lake Road. Mr. Burns had put a driveway in last year, which the town signed off on. I became aware of the fact that Mr. Burns also added a drainage pipe at that time. So when I got a call regarding the drainage pipe, I had to go out there and we looked at it. And I asked them to improve the outlet of the pipe to make sure it doesn't go onto the neighbor's property, and to do a couple other minor redirection of drainage coming down the driveway to keep it off the neighbor's property. The pipe is approximately 150 feet from the lake. the pipe, the water from the driveway has always come down into that general area, but rather than going via a pipe for 70 feet, it just went over the driveway and into the same general area. So he didn't create any additional water. In fact, he was just trying to control us so he wouldn't have any icing in his road. So I issued him an administrative approval just last week. And then Harrington, as I explained earlier, was for a one-time. He may try to get another permit to do this again and again, but at this particular time, it's with a one-time event. Most of his issues with conducting this operation are more to do with planning and zoning, having that type of activity in an industrial zone. So, and then
the Jeep and car show. Right, John?
Sorry?
He's having a Jeep and car show there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I think we allowed him to have a Jeep and car show up in the paved area, which is no closer proximity to the wetlands than the area which has been used for parking of vehicles for the last 15 years. We have to keep an eye on, that sort of operation to make sure it doesn't doesn't grow. But we've had a good working relationship with Mr. Harrington. He's just very ambitious, so we have to be studious.
John, have we received a plan yet, or a survey that was mentioned back on the site walk, or anything from him yet?
No, sorry. I tried to make that clear, and I may not have when I responded to your question, Ian. I did see it, okay, but he only had one in front of him, and I asked for a copy of it. I wasn't going to take his only plan, and he said he would make it available. I haven't pursued it. I have asked for it a couple times, and I will again. And what Ian is referring to is a plan of the area where he's conducting his farming. He's got 2 or 3 fields that he's planted. He has that farm pond that's 3 acres. And we were looking for a plan that he could just then delineate the farming activity and separate it from what isn't farming. At the same time, we had asked, when we met out there, we had asked that he would then show the 50-foot setback that he volunteered that he would not conduct any activities in relation to the Hop River. So yeah, we'd like that all to be on a plan, and it's not that I haven't asked a few times. I just I haven't braced him on it other than just asking. So I will ask him again. No, we have not received that plan. We did receive a plan for the Jeep activity, but not for the farming activity. That's what you were referring to, Ian, correct? Was the farming activity?
I mean, did the one for the Jeep show the limits of the wetlands and everything?
The one for the Jeep show showed the flagging for the wetlands, correct? And it was right near where the floodplain would come up. I don't think I've mentioned this to you guys. I'm not sure, but I looked at some of the older soil mapping, and that was all at one time was all a sand and gravel pit. So it was excavated down to a floodplain, and that was done probably after 1961. It was in 1961. It was gravel. It was sand and gravel. There's some semblance of that. If you were to go look at the site, you could see some hummocks. You could see some areas where there's still a sufficient amount of gravel that was left behind. But other than that, probably 500,000 yards came out of that area. More than likely, it was used for the highway. But so it was taken down, and most of that low area now is identified as floodplain, right up to within 180 feet or so from Route 66. So he had placed the Jeep event right adjacent to the slope where it breaks and comes down to the low area. So it was close to the floodplain. And he had filled a couple areas for hills and what do they call it when they for these Jeep events to make it more interesting. But that was the extent of the activity in that area. So,
if that plan, since it has the limits of the wetlands and everything on it, is
yes,
that possible to share with the group?
Yeah, I would hope that I would get that. Yes, you know, he had done the wetlands for that purpose, so we can provide a plan. It's just a matter of getting Steve to hand it over. You know, I will ask for it again.
Oh, I thought you received it with the Jeep thing, so I didn't know if it.
Oh no. What I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I received the plan that showed wetlands for the Jeep event, but it wasn't a plan that showed wetlands for the entire area, nor was it a plan that encompassed that entire area where he has his farm.
So it was just a partial plan of the site.
It was just a partial plan that identified it was sort of like a site specific, and that was it. No, it wasn't it was not the surveyor, engineer, soil scientist plan. It was a rendition of that showed the wetland flagging in relation to the event. And I went out and I field verified that the wetlands were probably 50 plus feet away from where the event was being held. I could also say that Mr. Harrington has remained busy improving drainage there, and so you know, and I don't stop him when he's doing something good or positive, but he's got, as you remember, probably all that stone swale that went down the hill was the floodplain. It all went there without the benefit of traveling through the stone, and it scoured them. It brought in maybe several truckloads of material into the river. So what's happened in the last year is that we designed it such that the water no longer goes towards the low spot that flows towards the river. It now flows towards the floodplain where it's pocketed and doesn't escape the wetland, doesn't escape the floodplain, doesn't get into the river. And he's improved that by putting in some more stone and some more check dams to lessen the degree of sediment that's moving down and into the floodplain. So, so an improvement as far as to the site, and an improvement as far as removing any sediment that has any opportunity to get into the river. So it's a real plus for that area. And you probably don't know, but both that property and the property he bought that used to be owned by Bell, which was the where he has the garage, the backyards of the restaurant and the garage were dumps prior to those owners, prior to the building of the restaurant, prior to Mr. Harrington purchasing that property from Bell. Is evidence of cars and car parts and such. And Mr. Harrington has removed an awful lot of that in cleaning up the site. So,
John.
Yes.
Hi, it's Mary. A comment and a question. I concur and appreciate all that you've just shared in regards to the pluses and the positives that are going on from Mr. Harrington. However, I also concur with Ian. Did we set or should we set a timeline to ensure that what was requested relative to the survey, et cetera, is delivered?
Well, let's do this. Give me this month until September to get it. And if we don't get it by September, then I think the commission could probably request that Mr. Harrington do it post haste. Rather than telling him he has to do it by a certain time now, let me just reinforce my request of him to provide that plan. He knows. There's no uncertainty. Mr. Harrington knows that we want that plan.
Yeah.
But I will sort of stand there and make sure that I get it.
Yeah. How you choose to word it is
yeah.
We trust that, and I appreciate that. But it was something that was a next action step from his behalf to us.
Yeah. Yeah. He only got that plan about a month and a half ago. It took a while for Mr. Hellstrom to develop that plan. I would say with certainty, he did not have that plan 2 months ago. Because I remember meeting with Rob at Cindy's memorial service, and Rob had just indicated at that time that we had the plan. So I'm pretty sure that we didn't have it 2 months ago, and likely it only appeared that I'm aware of around a month and a half ago. What he had was other plans, which I thought was the plan that we requested, and it was a plan of the restaurant where he was proposing to add on to the side of the restaurant. And so I thought that was the plan. And he goes, no, it's not, it's this. And I haven't gotten the other plan yet. So it's only recently that he's received it. He hasn't been holding off on giving it to us for too long, but I have not insisted, and I will talk to him again.
No, thank you. Just based on my newness to this committee, I didn't know if we set timelines or, project deadlines, et cetera. So that just helps me. Thank you.
Yeah. If we did something, and he should have supported his farming up. We went down and we looked at the area. We all agreed. We all agreed it was farming. We asked for a plan. Ian asked for a plan at that time. That's several months ago, and he said he would produce it. And he did work on it. He did get one, but it only arrived recently. So we will secure that plan.
Thank you.
And okay, so I was saying that if we're finished with Mr. Harrington, the other administrative approval was I think I have 136 Route 87 Candace Tanner, and she's rebuilding her cottage on the lake. Currently, it's like a 25 by 25 cottage. It sits on 8 posts, and she is going to rebuild it on 8 posts. So, and it's like 60 feet from the wetlands. There's going to be no grading. That thing's going to be lifted up and put in the dumpster. They're going to pour 10 more posts. They'll auger down. They'll probably be 8 to 10, 12 inches in diameter. They'll go 42 inches into the ground. So we're not talking a lot of disturbance of soil. And then the new cottage will sit on those posts. So I didn't think I had to drag her before the Wetlands Commission for that activity, meaning basically it's equivalent to someone putting in a shed. So as far as potential disturbance. And then let's see, Latham Hill Road, I met with Beth Lunt. Beth Lunt is our new road crew foreman. And I met at Latham Hill Road, and there's over the years that particular bridge has flooded many times, and they've identified an area that they'd like to clean out below the bridge, where deposits of sand have been left in the river. It has 5 48-inch pipes, and so when I looked at it last week with Beth, I think the commission should take a look at it. The commission should make a determination on issuing them a permit for conducting this work. It has to be done during the dry time of the year, and it'd be relatively safe to do the work by setting plywood in front of 4 of the pipes during the low flow, diverting the water to 1 pipe or 2 pipes, and then removing the material, and then diverting the water back to the other side, and then cleaning out where the other pipes are. So it's fairly easy to accomplish. It is a river, so it's got to be done quickly, and it should take only a day or 2. So maybe we should set up a site walk where we can go down there and look at it and guide the town on what kind of an application we would need.
Okay.
So
What about, it's a 10-mile river, right?
Latham Hill Road, 10-mile river.
Yeah.
Yeah, between Lebanon and Columbia.
Columbia, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, did they mention any approximate time frame that they were planning on doing it?
Well, I'm looking at them doing it by latest September or something like that. So we would have to sort of move on it. If we can look at, I'm not going to be around for another couple of weeks, but we could either set up a site walk and you guys can meet with Beth out there, or you could wait till I come back. They could make an application and we could act on it at the next meeting in September. Right? The next meeting is September. Yeah.
Okay, why don't we wait until John gets back and have it like on
okay.
Saturday the 24th?
Okay.
Okay.
So, good.
About 9 o'clock.
The 24th, what's that? What day of the week is that?
Saturday.
24th is a Tuesday.
Oh,
John,
Tuesday?
you may have not moved your calendar yet.
But it's July. All right. Hang on.
Okay,
21st.
Okay, 21st. I'll be back by the 21st. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely be back by the 20. Definitely be back by the 21st. Okay, good.
And
okay.
Isabel can make it too, Isabel?
What time?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
yes, I can make it. I'll be back by the 17th. So anything after that I should be available.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
A couple other items.
John, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. When you were suggesting the administrative approval for 136, is it Route 87? That's a little cottage on the lake?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I couldn't visualize it, so I just looked it up. It's a 2,100 square foot home. So they're simply replacing the footprint of the home on the same 8 posts. Is that what's being proposed and you approved? Just so
I think there's 2 houses on that property. And you're probably looking at Henry Beck's old house, which is the White House, which sits close to the road. And then below that is the cottage, which I would guesstimate there was 2 rooms, no more than 25 by 20, no more than 625 square feet. I'm sure it's on the town records, but it's not much larger. It's not much larger than that. It's 1 story.
Okay, my confusion.
I don't even. No, not a problem. No, and you're right. Probably that sticks out more than that. What would have looked like probably a shed if you're looking at an aerial photography, you know?
Yeah.
John, is that the one with the bamboo fence?
That I don't remember. That I don't remember.
I'm not sure that is, Ian. I think it might be kind of next to it.
It's the blue. It's the blue house that we visited.
But I can tell you, I'll be asked if it's on the lake. I'll get asked the question as soon as something starts.
Yeah. Well, remember now, Henry had 3 houses. The one that's on the lake, literally within 35 feet, was purchased by Mr. Bonadies, and it's going to be. That's going to be taken down. It's going to be a rebuild. We all know, we should know about it or remember that we issued him a permit for that.
Correct.
And then Henry's house is to stay. And then Henry's sister, Mrs. Tanner, is going to rebuild that little cottage. It's seasonal. It's going to remain seasonal. It's just a matter of trying to update it. You know,
that's helpful because if it's remains seasonal, then that will be asked the question of what is happening with anything that could harm the lake, septic wise, etc. So, okay.
No increase of flow. It's 1 bedroom, and
terrific. Thank you. I appreciate the update now.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. I had a complaint about an individual on Erdoney Road who was bringing some fill in, and the concern was whether or not it was too close to the lake or a wetlands. And I went out there. It was far enough from the lake, but it was like within 100 feet of the wetlands that were further behind the house. And I told the individual not to spread the fill any further. That wasn't their intent to do it, but nonetheless, they were close to 100 feet.
Where on Erdoney, John?
I don't remember the address, and I don't want to mention the name, since it really wasn't. It really wasn't a.
I know which one.
A bona fide complaint where someone did something wrong, and I would give you the name. I think it's more of an issue where someone saw some filling occurring around the lake. They gave me a call. I looked at it. I didn't think it was a big issue, and they did not go any further.
It was an upper driveway.
Yes,
because I got this. I got the phone call.
Okay, good. Thank you. 30 years. Oh yeah,
John.
Sorry. Yeah.
I got a question. Can you hear me?
Tip?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you, Tip.
Yeah. Back to the Beck cottage. Those are going to be concrete posts.
I'm assuming they would be. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that what they would do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming that what they would do is they would auger out, you know, some probably today it would be, you know, 8 to 12 inches in diameter. It would go down 42 inches. They would throw in a tube and then pour the concrete into the tube.
Yeah.
So that would be the way I would construct it, you know. And it's not going to move, and they would have probably 8 to 10 of those a minimum around the house. Meaning that I really didn't see that. I didn't think that it really was an issue for me to give her an administrative approval. But let's see, 38 Hennequin. I don't even know why I have that down here. I don't remember. Oh yeah, 38 Hennequin is a house that went in several hundred feet off of Hennequin Road. And recently I was out there with Isabel looking at the driveway and some of the drainage. And there was a complaint earlier in the year, and any issues that were there have been corrected. What they had done is they diverted the water to the south side of the driveway where it was intended to be on the north side. So I had to move it back across the driveway, and then the neighbor complained because they were seeing more water, but the water wasn't on the neighbor's property. The neighbor was seeing more water on the side of their property, and they were concerned, but it's not an issue. There's no erosion. I just thought I'd mention that. And then we looked at a site on the lake on Sleepy Hollow Road. I think it was Desiato. They removed some shrubs, and the same day they graded it and topsoiled it and seeded it and mulched it, and that was like within 20 feet of the lake. Basically, it was a use as of right. They were removing landscaping. It wasn't in the wetlands, and they did it in a way that didn't present a problem. I am going to meet with the engineer on Erdoney Road from McNerney. We had a couple cancellations on that, and now I'm away. But they wanted to do that job while it was dry, so I expect that in the next 3 weeks, Mr. McNerney will be improving the pipe that he installed without a permit. I think that's it.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Sorry.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Ron, thank you. All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for being here. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.